tough one to make. Guess where DeRozan is? DeRozan's at home watching. DeRozan's at home watching one of his best friends. I don't know, maybe they still are or are not best friends, but he's watching, and he will be watching Kyle Lowry play in the NBA Finals against one of the best teams on the planet. But Kawhi, there's just nothing else you can say about Kawhi. He was it for this team. He was it. There was a play when he came down the middle and dunked on, I believe he dunked on Giannis. I posted that on Instagram because that is a highlight photo right there. If you're a Toronto Raptors fan and you're a kid, you want that poster on your wall. You want that poster on your wall. You want it above your bed. You want it somewhere so that you can symbolize that crazy dunk coming down the lane that Kawhi had on Giannis. So huge. Game 1 on Thursday. Game 1 coming up on Thursday. I think it's going to be an interesting series. Do I think Toronto's going to win right out the gate? I'm going to immediately say no, just because of the history of the Warriors and what they have. But Kawhi and the Raptors are going to definitely give them a run. And I think they're going to win one in Toronto. I don't know if it's the first one or the second one. May potentially be the first one, just because Toronto, the crowd, Kawhi, they're all going to be up for this game because this is the first game. And the Warriors may not be up for this first game. They don't have KD. It is being reported that KD reportedly will travel with the team. He's ruled out for game 1. Status for game 2 uncertain. Boogie is questionable, so Boogie should be coming back, it sounds like, now rather than later. But there is one quote I want to read from Kawhi. After the game's over with, Masai, who's the GM of the Raptors, says that he's the best player in the league. Kawhi says, "I don't really judge my game like that. I'm more of a team aspect. See what my team is doing. I just want to win. I don't care about being the best player. I want to be the best team." What better comment? What better comment can you make than that? Being a star player, being selfless. They were talking about it in the post game. He almost looked like he was not even interested, and he didn't even want to be in his press conference and with the post interview and all that stuff. And I think it's not because he's being disrespectful. I just think it's because he's focused on the team goal. What's the team goal? To win an NBA championship. The team goal was not to make it to the finals. The team goal was to make it to the NBA championship and win. And I probably have the most respect for Kawhi than almost any other person in the NBA, because you don't see him in the news. You don't see him having the big head and choosing to be arrogant when he's being interviewed or anything like that. Kawhi is a stand-up guy, hands down. Now, like I said, will they beat the Warriors, though? I think not. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be a miracle, I think. Looking at it on paper, nothing has dramatically changed with the Warriors. Obviously, KD and not having Boogie, but this team is still very solid without those two people. So I think it would be a miracle. And if I am wrong, like I always say, I will come back on here and say that I was wrong. Shout out to JB Jennings in the building. Courtney says Warriors in 6. Trey says Warriors in 6. JB, what's your feeling? NBA Finals start on Thursday. A great job, man. A great job by the Raptors. The monkey is officially off their back. I had a show on Friday called The Monkey Almost Off the Back. Well, that monkey is officially off. That monkey is dead. They have buried that monkey in the backyard of DeMar DeRozan's house. They have buried it. It is over. They don't have to be worried about being called that team that never made it to the finals. But now it's time to take it a step further. What, if anything, can they do to win this series? And I would just say they would have to play the best defense of their entire lives in order to stop this team. Shout out to Big Mo. He says, working in the background, listening. Appreciate that. They would have to play the best defense in their lives, number one. And number two, Steph and Klay would have to have 4 bad games. 4. They'll have to have 4 bad games, because if one of them is off, the other one's going to be on. KD's going to be back, I think, at some point in time in this series. Maybe game 3. There's a lot of days in between the games. But this is going to be a very interesting series because there's a questionable KD. Boogie has still been looming over the playoffs. And Kawhi, what Kawhi does is game changing. If Kyle Lowry can give you at least 20, it just depends on who's going to show up for the Raptors. Is Van Fleet going to bring you that production that he had in the previous series? JB says KD won't return as I suspected, so it will be a lot more competitive. You think KD's injury more serious than they talking? I don't think it is, because if he's traveling with the team, if it was extremely serious, I don't think he would be traveling with the team, because that means he needs to have round-the-clock treatment. If he's traveling with the team, that probably means he's sitting on the bench, which also probably means he's doing some type of practicing. So I don't think it's as bad as what's being portrayed. But it is going to make the series interesting, especially these first 2 games. Especially the first 2 games, because you know, at least the first one you don't have KD. Even if you have him the second one, is he going to be at 100%? But there's a lot to look forward to in this NBA Finals. A team that has not been there ever before. Kawhi, who's the king of the North at this point, he, in 1 year, he has done more than any other player. Any other player that has been on that team, he has surpassed them in 1 year. Vince Carter did great in Toronto. Vince Carter was Toronto. Vince Carter did a lot there, but Vince Carter did not lead this team to a finals. And that's what Kawhi has done in 1 year, and he's done it quietly. He's done it quietly, not talking, not complaining, hitting game-winning shots. It's utterly amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. Van Fleet, Ibaka, Green, Sakam, if those guys produce, then this series becomes very competitive. But I think it comes to coaching. Kerr versus Nick Nurse. Kerr's experience and adjustments will be the difference. I agree with you right there, too. I agree with you right there. So game 1 coming up on Thursday. I'll be recapping that game on Friday. Giannis, after the game's over with, he did walk out of the press conference, which, I mean, you're human. And if you continue to get the same dumb questions, you're human, you're dumb, the season's over, you lost in a dramatic fashion, you lost 4 games in a row, I would be ready to get up too. But the funny part was the look on Chris Middleton's face when he looked over like, hey, why are you leaving? He looked around like, did somebody say he can leave? Like, what happened? So that part was funny. But Giannis wants to keep the band back together again. He wants everyone to come back. Well, Chris Middleton's probably not going to be there. Lopez is a free agent. Brogdon's a free agent. You cannot keep everybody. So the team will not be back together again. The band will not be back together again. Someone's going to have to go. It's just a matter of who it's going to be. But someone is not going to be on that team. Mount Rushmore, Toronto Raptors, Vinsanity, Kawhi, DeRozan, and Bosh. Definitely. I think you hit the nail on the head right there. And in that order. Because Vinsanity, what he did for the Raptors is monumental because he made them into a basketball team. They were an expansion team early on. They had Damon Stoudemire. But when Vince came in there, he changed everything. I agree. I think Kawhi second, DeRozan, and then Bosh. But it's amazing. I mean, I cannot not say the word amazing when it comes to Kawhi, what he's been able to do in the playoffs and with this team, period. So, going into the finals, Durant's not playing, like I said, Cousins questionable. Here's going to be the X factor too. Is Drake going to be able to get in anybody's head? On the sideline, I grew up in the Bay Area, so people in the Bay Area are already on social media like, Drake better be on his best behavior. He better be on his best behavior. You better not be clowning on the sideline. But Drake's probably going to clown. He's probably going to wear some particular hoodie or shirt or something. But that's going to make the series even more interesting. There's a report that OG Anunoby is about 10 days away from playing. If you don't know him, he's a bench player on the Raptors. He started some games. He's going to give them some bench depth. Now, 10 days is a long time because game one's on Thursday. So if you want to count, that means he will be back next weekend, which they'll probably be at game 3 or 4. So the series could be all but over with by the time he's able to come back. So that's going to be an interesting aspect of that. I think Damon Stoudemire removed Kawhi, maybe the most celebrated because of the finals, but not Mount Rushmore. T-Mac was only there for a short time and didn't produce that way. The way he did during his Orlando and Houston years, people keep mentioning T-Mac as a special Raptor because he was cousins with Vince. Good point. T-Mac I don't put in that category because he wasn't the star player of that team. He was on the team as an additional star. But when he went to Houston, that's when everything, when he went to, was it Orlando first or Houston? I think it was Orlando first. That's when his stardom, I think, reached higher peaks. Here's the other question. I want everybody in here to answer. Is Kawhi going to stay? Season's not over with yet. I'm thinking a little bit further down the line. But is Kawhi actually going to stay? Is he going to stick around on this team? That is a huge question that I know nobody wants to talk about right now. But it is a question that has to be asked. Because Kawhi, what he's done, but is it enough for him to want to stay? That's $1 million question right there. And I actually think that he will. I think he will stay. I don't know if going somewhere else and starting all over again, i.e. Lakers, Clippers, whoever else, is that going to replace what he has right now? Is that going to be better than what he has right now? You got to build a relationship with players again. You got to get to know your coach. Got to get to know your GM. Got to get to know all of that stuff. And you've reached the peak in 1 year. So imagine you come back next year. Players know that you're staying and players want to come to Toronto. And then you add another star onto this roster. H-Rap says no. I think he stays right now. He is the man in Toronto, says Courtney. A-Trap, that man